Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is one of the earliest and most active advocates of content marketing in Asia. He's conceptualized and executed some very large-scale integrated communication campaigns and experiences across the digital divide of the Asia-Pacific region. Mr. Vaasu Gavarasana, co-founder ACMA and APAC head of business marketing Yahoo, will now step forward and talk to you about the 3 Ys of content marketing. Please.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Before I kind of carry on, I just want to quickly address a rural issue. I forget it, and I'll be very quick. What we've discovered in several developing markets where you have a predominant prepaid SIM culture, many of these smart feature phones, there is no such thing, but I'm just making that up, have slots for data cards. I'm sure all of you know that. So what we're seeing at a very dispensing level where they go to top up their monthly charge, they're also buying content, movies, songs, which they, for a little bit more money, they insert in their feature phone and they're enjoying content. So don't think traditionally. These guys are really smart on ground. They are finding ways of accessing the content, not necessarily the way we think, Wi-Fi, internet, broadband. There are other distribution mechanisms where the same content that we create, they're accessing it in a different way. So we need to kind of step back and take a look at the whole array of how content marketing is actually evolving. Getting back to what I want to say. I'm very happy to be in Delhi, and I don't mean to sound like a cliche. Really proud because this is, in the Asia region, if you keep Pacific on the side for a moment, this is really Asia's first content marketing conference. And I think all of you should give yourselves a big round of applause. Right? It is fantastic that India gets to kick this off. Singapore has a couple of sessions in April, Hong Kong in May. We're working very actively, and I'll define who we is to make sure we propagate this discipline. I'm here today wearing essentially 2 hats. One hat is a ACMA hat, and I'll tell you what ACMA is. And the other hat I wear is a Yahoo hat. That Yahoo hat, I'll keep it for tomorrow. For the workshop today, I'm wearing the ACMA hat. So what is ACMA? ACMA is Asia Content Marketing Association. So it's a bunch of 6 passionate professionals in Singapore who came together, not because their companies wanted us to come together. It's because we believed in content marketing and the future of it. I'm very proud to share, we have one more co-founder in the audience, Anthony from Outbrain. Anthony has been a big supporter of ACMA, and we've been doing some pretty good work. The ACMA charter is very simple. To help propagate the discipline of content marketing. Very simple. We're very happy to partner with RP when he came to us in October, November to help create this conference. We are working with similar organizations in several other countries to help propagate. So that's what really makes me very proud to be here. Being of Indian origin, I take immense pride that India got to start this first. The second what makes me immensely happy is to see startup activity in content marketing. Usually the traditional way is a new discipline is born or a startup starts it, and then you start to see a lot of companies jumping into the fray. I'm very happy that I did see outside and meet a couple of people from Content Cafe. Anyone from Content Cafe here? So it's stupendous that in Delhi and not in Bangalore, you actually have a content marketing startup in India, which is amazing. There's been one more in Singapore called King Content, which is an Australian-based startup in content marketing as well. So it's good to see that traction coming into the discipline. Now let's talk about content marketing. And before I do that, I just want to do a quick poll. How many of you in the audience, whether you're from an agency or an advertiser, it doesn't really matter, how many of you have a search strategy? Just raise your hands. How many of you have a search strategy? For yourself, for your brands, or for your agent or your clients? That's it? Okay, the rest of the audience, excuse me, where are you from? How many of you have a social strategy? Okay. How many of you have a content strategy? Really? Oh, that's surprising. That's pretty good. The reason I ask that is usually when I ask this question, you have everyone in the audience raising their hand. Everyone has a search strategy, which is great. And then almost everyone has a social strategy, which is also great. Not many people actually have a content strategy. And when you step back, right, unless you're a huge investor in the search business, people don't go to search to raise the stock price. People go to search because they're looking for content. They're looking for information. That's the primary purpose that search exists and thrives. But before jumping into that, where are you sending them? A lot of us kind of don't really kind of think too much about where am I sending that traffic? Am I sending them to a destination where I can hold them and hold them for a long time? A lot of that stuff, we're now beginning to wake up and think about that aspect. The second aspect on the social side of it, what do you want them to talk about? If you haven't figured out what you want them to talk about and rush into the social side of it, and then that's where the vacuum of the last couple of years, and I'll go into a little bit more detail. So I'd like you to kind of think about that. I think I might need the clicker. A couple of things for those of you. How many of you here from the agencies, media or creative? Okay, you should be really scared. I think India has a little bit more time. Probably the only country where traditional media is still growing. You need to be concerned because the first profession on the creative side that's going to get hit are the writers. Why are the writers going to get hit? I come from a traditional agency background for 20 years. Because writers don't know what they're writing, which is why pre-testing exists. You need to test what you write because you're not in direct contact with your consumer. But journalists are, especially if you're an online journalist. If you're not read, you know in a couple of hours whether you're being read or you're not being read. You're dead by the end of the day. So journalists have a much higher intuitive sense of consumers than a copywriter does. And what content marketing does, it demands that you are in touch, not for a campaign period, you're consistently in touch with the consumer. And journalists have that knack. So both of them have to be retrained. If copywriters do not retrain themselves, for those of you who remember, and I'll tell you how old I am, cut and paste artists. For those of you who remember the days when we used to do artworks with bromides, anyone as old as I am? They don't exist anymore in the business. Adobe was the reason they don't exist. Right? They were transformed, the transformational point in the creative business. The second one that's going to get hit is just the agency structure itself. And we've all been saying it's a broken model. It is truly a broken model. Creative agencies are just refusing to learn the new tricks of the trade. And that will be the death of their operating model. They still have a long shelf life. Traditional media is still predominantly a big number. But as the business goes forward, if you're 30 years and younger, you need to be worried. If you're 30 years and older, you can still keep your feet up and then retire doing TVCs. You don't have to worry about it. Right? But it's a choice that you need to make. The media agencies really need to change because this whole campaign thing, and I'll get into a little bit more, is something that will change. You know, campaign flighted periods of being on media is something that also will be redefined. So media agencies will not lose a lot, but they'll have to learn new tricks of doing media and media planning. And finally, on content marketing, which is the most important thing to take away, and we'll cover this in great detail in our workshop tomorrow. The difference between advertising and content marketing is very simple. And I'll just, being an old ad guy, I'll just use a slogan. It is a utility versus a USP. Advertising is all about USP, and content marketing is all about utility. That is the essential difference between the two. And if you grasp the difference between utility and USP, you would understand the journey that you need to take. And both of them, for a while, will coexist. So it's not like I'm saying, okay, the USP is dead and hooray, the utility. It will coexist for a while, but the way things are moving will move to utility. I'm going to play a video of a very pioneering company. I'm not saying others are not, but this had come out and embraced content marketing in a big way. Can we play a video, please?
Content 2020. How the Coca-Cola Company will evolve its approach to the creative agenda on its key brands. We will move from creative excellence to content excellence. Chapter 1. How does content excellence approach liquid and linked content development? The purpose of content excellence is to create ideas so contagious they cannot be controlled. We call this liquid. And these ideas are so innately relevant to our business objectives, our brands and consumer interests, we call this linked. And through the stories we tell, we will provoke conversations and earn a disproportionate share of popular culture. The conversation model we have developed begins with brand stories. These brand stories create liquid and linked ideas. These liquid and linked ideas provoke conversations. Then we need to act and react to those conversations 365 days a year.
The point I want to make is I used to work for McCann Erickson, who managed the Coke business for almost 100 years. All right, so is Wasim in the room by any chance? Wasim is an old colleague who is a Coke client in India now. He used to work in China. Wasim will tell you, I'm sure he's speaking towards the end of the day. Coke was very passionate about creative excellence. We have to win awards. We have to be in McCann. We have to be a creative marketer of the year. McCann has to win all the creative awards. Everyone knows Coke, right? We all had that brand sometime in our lives or even yesterday. Can you imagine Coke coming out and making that statement? It's not about creative excellence, folks. It is about content excellence. So Coke has woken up. And Coke is a big client with lots of money. And I think it's a big wake-up call, not just for Coke. It was a big wake-up call for a lot of advertisers as well. There are two big things happening, right? I'm sure all of you know. We're going to see, and maybe India a little bit slower, but this is inevitably coming our way around the world. One side, we're going to see an immense rise in programmatic buying. I won't go into it today. If anyone wants to know more, your media agency colleagues are here, or you can see me during lunchtime. On the other hand, we're going to see content integration, something Umang touched a little bit, and I'll take you through a little bit more, and the rise of native advertising, which is part of content marketing. This is going to be a divergent split. The machines are coming. Just what happened to the stock market, for those of you who know what happened to the stock trader, remember, stock markets no longer have wells because it's now all E-Trade, just to give you an example of a company. All the guys who used to sell stock had to rethink their existence. They had to rethink what do they do in the new world where machines are selling to machines. The same thing is coming to advertising. Machines will sell to machines. So if you're a media agency guy, you need to think, what am I going to be doing in this programmatic future? On the other side is content marketing is happening. It will happen slowly or faster depending on a whole bunch of other factors, but it is coming our way. So for those of you 30 and younger, please take this trend extremely seriously because you could be either in a job or out of it. This is a search query done on Google. You could see that these are marketeers who are looking for content marketing. This is a keyword search trend. You can see marketeers over a 3-year period increasingly are looking for content marketing. This is a proof point that it is increasingly becoming a need in marketing mix. 2 years ago, you can see that Cannes, for the first time, has recognized the discipline and now is awarding brand content and entertainment, which is a huge recognition to the industry. Last year, eMarketer and many other reports you could see right there, you could see that content marketing has bubbled to the top. While it's the 2013 report, even the latest report from eMarketer I just read last week, content marketing continues to be the most important. I don't want to use the word trend because trends can be tricky. It's like fads, right? They come and go. Content marketing is not a fad. It is here to stay. There's a whole bunch of data. I won't bore you with this. Essentially saying a lot of marketers, a lot of digital marketers are now increasingly looking for help and solutions and guidance in crafting content marketing strategies. What is content marketing? Just to give you consumer speak. And don't read this literally. I mean, no one really goes online, to look for shampoo, right? But what they're really looking for is they have a hair problem. And that's the difference between the USP and the utility. The last one was about USP. Your shampoo has some great ingredient, and you want to push that great ingredient. So it's more about what your ingredient does. But this is more, we need to be more on how can we help you with your hair, which is what the consumer problem really is. And this is very simplistically put what content marketing is all about. I'll save this for tomorrow. Okay, the biggest thing, of what I want to share with you today is 3 big whys of content marketing. Umang, I think, came in front of me, I think was very appropriate to share the future of content marketing. But it's very important for all of us to understand why we need to do content marketing. So there are 3 reasons why. What I call the missing sister syndrome. The second one is the always-on phenomenon. And the third one is the integrated digital marketing. Now this is from, this is from a consumer journey point of view. You could flip this from a digital company point of view, and you could say one is creation, curation, and distribution. Right? So there are 2 big companies in the room who will talk more about the role of distribution, which is extremely important in content marketing. But this is a view from consumers. So what's this missing sister syndrome? Can we play video 1?
This is Duke University.
Can we increase the volume a bit?
The CMS survey began in August of 2008, and the mission of the survey is to predict the future of markets, to understand the value of marketing, and to track marketing excellence. We surveyed almost 500 chief marketing officers and found that they expressed cautious optimism about the economy. As you might expect, as social media increases and digital marketing activities increase in companies, traditional advertising continues to plummet. In fact, CMOs expect the year-long negative trend that we've observed to post another 2.7% decrease over the next year. A key finding from the survey is that social media, as a percentage of marketing budgets, is expected to more than double over the next 5 years. CMOs noted that their companies are spending about 8.4% of their budgets on social media presently. This number is expected to increase to about 11.5% over the next 12 months and up to 21.6% over the next 5 years. So these are extraordinarily high numbers for percent of budget. I think companies understand that this is where customers are. They're looking for information, they're searching for products, they're talking about their experiences with products on the web. And this cuts across, again, all sectors of the economy. So I think companies are realizing they need to be on the web with their customers, engaging with them in this way. One of the questions that we've asked in the CMO survey for the last several years is how integrated social media is with the rest of the firm's marketing strategy. And as you can imagine, this is a very important indicator. And what we found is that it's not very integrated. So on a scale of 1 to 7, where 1 is not at all integrated and 7 is very integrated, companies average about 3.8 on that scale. And surprisingly, that number has not changed over the last several years. It's remained at 3.8. So that means that although companies expect to spend more on social media, they're not integrating it very effectively within their strategies. One of the reasons for the lack of integration is that companies, I think, are struggling with how to measure social media. So social media sort of stays over to the side.
So I think what I'd like you to remember is the 3.8 metric, which what they're trying to say is social media hasn't been integrated into the entire marketing communications mix. Forget about marketing mix. And why is this a problem? For those of you, and we've all been in this, and on the agency side, I used to get requests every week. Can you open a fan page on Facebook? Can you open a fan page somewhere else? Can you, just a whole rush of brand managers coming to create fan pages. I'm also guilty of opening several of them. And then scratching our heads 3 months later, and then when clients would come back and say, hey, but no one's doing anything on my social pages. And then like, okay, so why, right? Then you ask, why are people not coming? And then you look at what we've been doing, right? We've been putting PVCs, repurposed print ads, some blogs here and there, and some videos that you can buy from here and there. and wasn't actually catching on. It's only when we had promotions on sites, on fan pages, that you saw a huge jump in traffic. The other problem with the data is on social is usually the people who come to you, the 80-20 rule, 20% who are your fans. You don't have to incentivize them. And the 80% are switchers. Now, the people who typically sign up for loyalty programs, who sign up to be fans, are typically from that loyal base of 20%. But we don't have any data. This is from all marketing data. You know that the loyalists stay with you, and they create that stable base of volume that they give you, despite top line going up and down. They give you a certain base. Now, the problem with social media is you don't know who is your loyalist and who's a switcher. So you could be actually incentivizing people who are loyalists and actually hurting your margins. You really don't know. The other thing is that we've learned the last 3 years is when you do promotions on social sites, are they really your fans? I have screenshots. I'm not showing because of legal issues, but I can show you in private. I can show you fans who are signed up for the two opposing brands, literally with the names. Now, I'll tell you, it's Coke and Pepsi, and I can give you even on cards. So they're fans for both the competing brands, and who are they really admiring? Do we really know? We don't. So that's the trick, right? But how do you know who's truly your fan? So if I'm talking to this gentleman and he's listening to me intently, and I'm speaking sense and he's continuing, so I know he's kind of likes me, he's giving his attention, like he is displaying loyal behavior. Now, if I talk nonsense, he's going to look aside, and I'm sure there are much better people who talk better sense. He's going to divert his attention to someone else. So there's a problem. He's no longer beginning not to be loyal. I mean, that's, of course, a very strong term just for that. But he's beginning to go away from me. So I'm not able to engage him. What is that I need to do to engage him? So all of these things you need to keep in mind. And this whole rush the last 3 years into social media, we're now discovering the missing sister is content. No one had a content plan. Everyone rushed in to do search. Everyone rushed into and still rushing into doing social without having a clue. What's the piece that holds it together? Search, looking for content. Social for brands apart from your personal vacations. What a brand wants is for you to talk about their brand. But what are you giving them for them to talk about? Nothing. And that discovery and a proof point at 3.8% integration, this is a phenomenon that is being corrected now. I think everyone by now understands that, oops, we are missing a key component in our digital marketing practice, which is content marketing. The always-on phenomenon is the second why. Play a video, it kind of illustrates it in a very nice way. Some of you might have seen this. It's a bit old video, but I thought it's appropriate for the context. Can we play this video, please?
Hey there. Long time no see. Looking good.
Yeah. Let's just keep this simple. I want a divorce.
What now?
I think you heard me just fine.
Come on. This is me. What's wrong?
We don't talk anymore.
I just put down $1 million on a TV commercial just to talk to you.
Exactly. You do all the talking. I never get a chance
Talk on our website, can't you?
Sure. If I want to say, order this product.
See?
It's not exactly a dialogue.
What about the print campaign, You can't tell me you missed the billboard in Times Square. That was like a 200-foot tall declaration of love.
You're saying you love me, but you're not behaving like you love me. It's not genuine.
I don't know. The agency said I was genuinely being funny. Genuinely being charming. They said you would love everything I did.
Could you keep your voice down? You're not doing a radio commercial. Look, whether you're funny or not, it's just, I've changed, and you haven't. I mean, we don't even hang out in the same places anymore. You're not even listening, are you?
Coupons. You want coupons, don't you? Look, come by the store. I got 2 words for you. Loyalty, redemption. Am I right? That was it, wasn't it? Let's just hug.
If you knew me, you'd know I don't care about that.
No, Sweetheart, I know everything about you. You're 28 to 34. Your online interests include music, movies, and laser hair removal. You have a modest but dependable disposable income. Am I the only one not getting the problem here?
I'm out of here.
Oh, come on. Don't be like that. Oh, I'll tell you what. Come back here tomorrow. I'll give you the chance to win a Bahamas vacation. There's a small chance, minuscule, but technically still a chance. I want to be like the old days.
Thanks to Microsoft. So the story is, and this is true, right? We all know this. I just thought that does a much better job than I would, is that the consumer has moved on. And we haven't, for a whole bunch of reasons. Consumers have become always on, and always on essentially from the time we wake up in the bed, at our home, in our homes, all the way to bedtime, we are with our device, whatever device that might be, or multiple devices in some cases. So scheduled consumption of media is dying. This whole I need prime time exists. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's declining in terms of its value. Gaming, I grew up playing Monopoly at the dining table. My kids played the same Monopoly standing up in the corridor, a digital version of Monopoly, right? So things have really changed, right? Movies, we all know, we used to go to the cinemas. We still do, but there's other ways of watching movies as well. So there's real dynamic happening out there, which is really kind of, consumers have really moved on. So the key question to ask everyone, ask yourselves, is consumers are always on. That's a fact. We all know this. The question is, are brands always on? They're not. Brands are not always on. Now the danger is if we all go back, and for those who are single, I'm sure you relate to what I'm saying. I'm sure we all had courtship at some time in our lives. If you're not engaging your girlfriend or boyfriend, and if you're in the flighted media plan, you court her for 3 months, and then you disappear. Without any explanation, you're just poof, off air. So do you expect her to wait for you whenever you come back? Don't you think there's a next nice dude waiting to go after her? That's what happens if you're not always on. If you're not wooing your consumer, someone else is. And that's a reality. But we're stuck in this GRP paradigm, right? Is GRP pressure sustainable 24/7, 365 days a year? Does anyone really have that kind of money to pump out the creative fatigue, 1,200 GRPs, 12,000 GRPs, whatever it might be? Refresh rates of creative every 3-4 months, $250,000 for a commercial, $650,000 commercials for one brand. You have 10 brands, keep multiplying, right? Go on television, 365 days a year. Does anyone have the money? No company in the world has that money. Even if you were to have the money, it is a nonsensical way to be spending your budget, even if you had the money theoretically. So this is a disconnect, which is this flighted approach to media needs a hard rethink. It's no longer going off, going on, because consumers are always on. That's the truth. You write it on your wall, back at your agency in your office, consumers are always on. What do I do with that scenario? And that's where content marketing comes in, because this is the only affordable, sensible, measurable way to keep in touch with your consumers and keep providing utility, and they will love you back for that. Which brings me to my last, which goes back to the study done by Duke University. We still very much operate in a very silo approach. As I said before, we're definitely doing search, we're definitely doing social. E-commerce, they have some problems in logistics, which are being sorted out. I'm sure they will. The big missing piece is today still in terms of content. So we're seeing a lot of companies like Outbrain, Yahoo. We're making a big push in this area as well, but it's not to be able to deliver a very effective Marcom program. And again, please don't think campaign. Can you please dump the word campaign from your mind? It will exist. We have to deal with it. That's life. But you need to stay one step ahead and think always on. And find ways, creative ways of being always on. I won't go into this. This is a teaser for you tomorrow. We have a workshop. You would be listening to a whole day of the theory and the reasons and the different forms of content marketing. Very broadly, the long-form content marketing. I'll just play a quick clip from one of the programs. I have been associated with Yahoo when I was in sales. And then there are short-form programs, which typically are run off native advertising. And we'll save the rest of this section for the workshop for tomorrow. But just a quick, don't run the whole video, just a couple of seconds and you can stop. I'll tell you when.
Welcome to Style Factor, a one-stop destination for digitally savvy women looking for the latest celebrity, beauty, and fashion trends. As a new or returning sponsor, we want to share with you the Style Factor experience so you can fully appreciate the innovation of this unique program and added value that comes with the sponsorship. The Style Factor experience begins on the popular Yahoo properties, where women discover relevant articles, videos, and photo galleries related to celebrity fashion and beauty topics. The Style Factor set is specially designed and built for this series, where we produce over 70 episodes for 3 markets. The production team is active all year long, constantly updating the site with fresh and original content. So let's take a deeper look into the core video series. There are 3 types of Style Factor video episodes. The first type is deep integration. These are the videos created by the Style.
Stop. So I won't go into this. I'll save this for tomorrow. But the point is that there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of stuff out there in terms of content marketing, which, like I said, that's a teaser for those of you who want to come tomorrow. Any questions, anyone? Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for your talk. Please don't go away. We'd like to thank you with a memento. And Mr. Singh will once again do the honors. And my takeaway from your talk was bring the love back. Simple. Thank you.